right, guys, Red Alert 2 World Series action coming at you here in the Pro Division. Yuri's Revenge, a best of 5. We got a couple killers in here. We got Snark the Ninja out of Israel on the left side here, facing off against Ed the Wild Card in red out of the US of A on the top side. Ed going Yuri, Snark going Allied. And so I didn't turn the super weapons off. I didn't realize one of them was going Yuri. So we're gonna just tell them to not use super weapons. These guys seem nice and understandable. They'll probably figure that one out. Super weapons are off. Allied versus Yuri. So downhill rush. This map's interesting. It's really small, but look at the way this plays. So there's a bridge here. So you start right next to each other, and look at Snark. Oh, Snark coming right at him here. Snark coming at me. So he takes the house, and Snark now deploys right next to him. So Snark GI rushing, Brood on the backside. So Snark right on the gem. So Snark's gonna have some money coming as well, and in right away with the pillbox. Oh my god. So now Ed has to move his MCV. Snark now with the forward barracks. Snark bringing the GIs. These Yuri's Revenge GIs, of course, do so much damage compared to Red Alert 2. And I like this. Versus Yuri, we've talked about that before. Yuri is so menacing in the mid-late game. Particularly versus Allied is so difficult to play with in the late game. So I like Snark says, hey, if I can't handle the late game, let's not have one. So Snark giving Ed a taste of his own medicine here. Going wild card himself, sending it straight downfield. And that's got to be GG's. Ed quits out. Guys, so now over to point number 2. We'll see if we see something a little more normal here. But hey, starting things off with a little bit of energy. You love that. Again, guys, we're here in the Pro Division. So winner of this goes on to play the winner of Loka versus Zed. So we kind of have a staggered Pro Division bracket this month. There are prizes along the way. So these 4 guys on the very left side, they have their own cash prize. But of course, they can win their way all the way to the championship as well. Quick reminder, of course, this is all part of the event number 16. 16 months. 16 months of tournaments, boys. 16 months of tournaments. We got $500 in prizes going out this month. Big shout out to all the sponsors. Paul Timmer, our big sponsor this month. Yeah, $500 going out. We got divisions for all skill levels. Bunch of new players this month. That's always fun. We are always looking for new players, guys. We do these tournaments every month. We have Yuri's Revenge, Red Alert 2, and Blitz. So all 3 different game modes and different divisions. Division 5, even if you don't know how to play the game. Division 5 this month, we actually have an 8-year-old. There's an 8-year-old in the Division 5 tournament. Tiny's playing some good Blitz, having some fun games. So don't be scared. I know a lot of you guys are like, I haven't played this game in 15 years. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Come join the fun. Division 5, just for you. Join the Discord. You can sign up, connect with the community, learn what's going on. redalert2.com/discord. So Ed with Soviet, Snark with Allied, Snark with the early MCV move here. Yeah, so this is a pretty big map. You know, it kind of look at this Ed, and Ed gonna repair the bridge and come right down the gut here. He's got his war factory and a forward barracks here, and both these players going for broke. You love to see it. Yeah, these guys are definitely showmen. Ed coming off a really nice series today already versus Marsh, so he's warmed up. He played that one wacky. He's going to play this one wacky. Heads right down the middle here. Now, Snark's MCV is a little bit safe. That move actually nice kind of defense, gets his MCV out of harm's way and is able to hold that thanks to these Rockies. A bit annoying here, but Ed, very quick to respond, does bring out a flak track, and Ed's still pumping the conscripts. Now, Ed's still got 2K in the bank, so the conscripts are going to keep coming here. Now, Snark is probably building a Navy SEAL right now. That's why he's putting himself broke. If Snark loses this war factory, could be very, very difficult position. He needs to get a Navy SEAL out. Does he have the money for it, though? I'm just not sure. Navy SEAL would be huge here. He does have an AFC, so he has the tech for it. Oh, the refinery goes down as well. That's got to be GG. Oh, Snark and Ed, man. These guys getting nice and weird for us. You love to see it. You love to see it. Oh, Snark. Oh, wait. I forgot. Snark. Normally when you see a base evaporate this early, you're like, oh, that's GG. Snark's up here. Snark's on gems. I guess Snark's still in this game. He's got 3 miners on gems right now. He's got 4K in the bank. And you look at this defensive bottleneck he's in right now. And he heads downfield to try to get some value with his Rockies. I like that, keeping an eye on the counterpunch. Oh my god, that's hilarious. And he holds. Ed calls GG. No way. No way. Guys, so now over to point number 3 now. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult to appreciate in that position. You look at Ed and you're like, well, he has his MCV, he has his war factory. The problem is, the reason that Ed was able to financially support that aggressive attack was because he wasn't building miners. He wasn't building extra refinery. So if you go in, if that attack doesn't end the game, you saw Snark was in a great position. I mean, ultimately, he had 3 miners on gems, war factory barracks. Now, Ed Ed only had one miner. He was going broke. He was only on one miner, so he didn't have an economy behind him. So, I think you could certainly make the argument that it's not impossible to win. We've seen crazier things happen, but definitely very, very difficult. When you do those kind of like sell the farm moves, early game like that, if they don't work, if you don't end the game, obviously it does put you at a massive disadvantage going into the mid-late game. So I guess that was the mentality there. But anyway, well played from Snark. I mean, Snark, I don't know, you say well played. Snark kind of got lucky, right? He he just happened to be moving his MCV right in time to counter Ed's attack. But anyway, so over to Tubak. I'm not sure about how you pronounce this map. I actually haven't seen this map much before. Yeah, so we did the map pool a little bit differently this month. All the pros, each pro got to pick a couple maps. And then we're doing them randomly with a veto, just trying to mix things up a little bit. Like I said, we're always trying to keep things fresh, kind of trying to keep players on their toes. So letting all the different. The idea was that some of the pros would pick maps to like mess with each other, kind of. Like Marco picked like Depth Charge, which kind of annoys a lot of players and stuff like that. That Brute baits a pillbox, just kind of harassing, being annoying. I like that from Ed. Ed going Yuri here, Snark going Allied. Ed not a Yuri player, but of course Ed a top level pro, obviously capable of getting wins with any faction. Of course, Snark a little bit challenging here with Allied. Now with Allied, we've talked about this kind of all day. We've seen this matchup already a couple times. Allied has a really, really hard time versus Yuri. We do turn the super weapons off for this matchup. The super weapons just tilted too much in Yuri's favor. So super weapons are off, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see. A big issue is the IFVs. The flak tracks are so critical, Soviet versus Yuri, and the IFVs just perform so differently. It makes it tough. Nice use of the mag and the gats there. Okay, Mags and Gaz take out that early Grizzly, and Ed getting a nice economy behind him here. Of course, that's the whole real key to victory for the Yuri player, resisting early on and getting that economy underneath him. So now 2, 4, 6 miners out, Snark out, and Snark's gonna go robot tanks. So robot tanks are interesting. On paper, robot tanks, there's all these fun things. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, you could try to do this or you could try to do that. In practice at the top level, almost never viable. You almost never see them, and they almost never are used in a way that actually... There's really not a meta that's like super OP with robot tanks. Of course, there's exceptions to that. People have won games with them, but generally speaking, not in the bona fide rhetoric when discussing how to beat the Yuri player. Now, a big reason for that, of course, is that very few top-level players who are sober will choose to go at Yuri with Allied in the first place. So, you could argue that the canon itself is a little bit less established for the AVY meta. Anyway, he is going to go robot tanks. Now, if there is a map where robot tanks are a little bit more viable, I would say it's a map like this where you have this water. So Snark can kind of do hit and runs, but look at Ed anticipating this. So he's got these bunkers out already. He knows the robot tanks are going to try to play off this water, little hit and runs like that. And I think it's a good idea. I mean, like I said, I love the idea of mixing and matching, getting weird. But it's definitely a fun idea. I'll say it's a fun idea. I'm not totally sure it's a... So, Snark Snark just went low power. So Snark put himself low power by building Snark put himself low power by building the battle lab, and all of his robot tanks were on the water. So Snark just lost like 7 robot tanks on the water. Yeah, as if robot tanks aren't bad enough just because they're not good. The fact that when you go low power, they all shut down is like hilarious. Because it's a hilarious nerf to a unit that probably needed a buff. It's like they were at the drawing table 20 years ago and they're like, oh, these robot tanks, man, how do you think they're going to play? Oh, I think they might be a little OP, man. Okay, all right, let's make it so if you go low power, they shut down. Honestly, even if you didn't have that nerf, they still wouldn't be good. So to have such a hilarious Achilles heel for a unit that's like already not viable is so funny. Oh, you love it. You love to see it. Or yeah, or the robot control center can get destroyed in the same kind of thing. So yeah, having a kill switch on a terrible unit is I think you got to imagine some of the Red Alert 2 developers. I'd love to do a podcast with some of the developers and ask them questions about that kind of stuff, because I'm sure they're like, we thought the robot tank was going to be OP. We misread it. Yuri Prime hunting on the top side, grabs a power plant. See if he's got a building to put down behind it as well. Virus taking out those GIs, grabs the War Factory. Oh, but then takes it out. I think Ed was trying to hold the War Factory, maybe trying to build off of it, or trying to build a mastermind out of it. Dis now pushing in, and Snark does not have the anti-air for this. Trying to use those GGIs, but not getting it done. Too many Dis now uncontested. Well, I would have liked to have seen Snark's robot tanks get an attack on the top side. I don't think it would have worked, but it would have been fun. Yeah, I would love to be like, when you guys made the game, did you know the dogs would be used as meat shields? Did you anticipate the dogs being used as meat shields? Did you realize how annoying Yuri would be? Did you know that did you know that the robot tanks would suck and they didn't need a kill switch? Mirage is going hunting for Snark downfield. But yeah, these discs now uncontested. GGI's out to help hold the line here. Snark getting some stuff done on the backside. He's gonna feast on these miners, maybe try to get some elites out of this. Mirages are tough in these positions though. They're really good versus tanks, but not great versus buildings. So hard to really pack an offensive punch. Ed's disc still chipping away. Snark kind of has to continue to push here. If he had a couple of Prism tanks in this group, it'd be a very different game. He does totally cut off Ed's economy. Unfortunately, Ed's on 22k, so Ed doesn't need an economy. Anyway, that is hilarious. Okay, the disc continuing. Where did Snark? Where does Snark go here? Snark, where are you, buddy? These discs, the GGI's out holding the lines. What's Snark down to? Snark's down to an AFC. Snark's down to an AFC. Ed just has so much money in the bank. It's really, really tough. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, when the game was built, I mean, that's the big thing about Yuri. Like, a lot of these things that they do, they're for campaign. Like, this game was really made for campaign. Like, online, competitive. Like, I think that's the answer to all the questions. Like, oh, the mag's out, juggling the Mirage is very, very nice. Dropping them onto the miners. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, Snark's army going to go down. That's the biggest thing, I think. If you said this to these guys, you'd be like, no, da-da-da-da. They'd be like, dude, we didn't think you guys would be playing it 20 years later. We didn't think you guys would be playing it competitively 20 years later. It was supposed to be like a fun campaign. Relax, chill. Of course Yuri is silly. We made it for the campaign. But, you know, Harriers get in, grab a battle lab. Not gonna matter. 5 seconds. Count the Yuris. Count the Yuris. Count the Yuris. Okay, let's see if anyone got this. The correct answer is 33. Oh my god! Cardinal Llama got it! Damn it, I'm already out $5. Alright guys, here we go. So, over to point number 4 now. I'm not really sure what's going on in this series anymore. We've had a lot of wacky stuff here today. We've made it through a lot today. We've had some lag. We had Snark's robot tanks fail. We had Marsh quit out of a series. The engineer, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I suppose, you know, these guys, I suppose I should just use quick match rules. I hate engineers, though, you guys. I hate watching engineers. I don't know if I can do it. It's a hard balance, right? I mean, it's a hard balance. You gotta balance, like, the players, the spectators, and then myself. You know, that's the reality. Like, not to be selfish about it, but the reality is, you know, I don't get paid to do this, so I gotta be having fun. So that's why people are like, why don't you do best of 13? I'm like, I hate best of 13. I won't do it. Like, I'm not excited to stream best of 13. I won't get out of bed for it. So I gotta do things I'm excited about. But the engineers, I guess, maybe I could be okay with some engineers, some tactical engineers, Allied versus Yuri, not the end of the world, but like engineering every point, like double punch engineers, 2 IFEs, I just don't know. I just feel like it would do something to my soul. Oh, new sub! Blung Marty, my guy. Thanks, Minka. Blung Marty, thanks for the sub. Money in, money out, boys. We're doing it again next month. Tournament after tournament. Next month, we got another tournament. If you guys want to play, last week of every month, we got the sign-up. First day of each month, we start the tournament. You schedule the games throughout the month at your own convenience, so it's really simple. What's in this flak track? Anyone know? I was distracted. Nothing, maybe. maybe just scouting here. So Polier, this is a new Polier map. We did that blind series, Marco vs. Legend on this map, where they did all the different factions. They played it without ever seeing it. Really, really good series. That's actually on the YouTube. If you guys want to check it out, if you missed that one, it was a banger. Beautiful map, though, from Polier here. Both these players probably a bit unfamiliar with it. Back over to Allied versus Soviet, so both players a little bit more comfortable. I love this map, man. I'm a big fan. Yeah, we actually had another one. If you guys are enjoying the Yuri action today, I just posted a video today on the YouTube, redalert2.com/YouTube. It was Marsh versus Latov, Yuri versus Yuri, and it is the craziest point. Like, it was nuts. That video just got posted today. Yeah, definitely check it out, but not right now because it's Sunday Fun Day, boys. It's Sunday Fun Day. So after this series, we are going to run, we're going to try to, I think we're going to get me, Ed, and Snark in some 3v3s. We'll get some opponents in here, run some 3v3s, maybe some 2v2s. We got some more crowd games. Some more cash to give out as well. So, what do we got here? Snark in now. Snark pushing in now a little bit. Early tech from Snark. He's got the Battle Lab out, 3-minute mark. That's usually where you want to be in Yuri for that early tech push. And Ed brings the miner in as fodder, clicking him down. The GI's doing work here, but too many rhinos. You know, that was actually sick. Ed got that miner to pull a little bit of aggro there, I think. So now Snark, only 2 Mirages out. Counterpunch going to come here. I don't think Red Alert 2 is going to get a remake. When they remastered the rest of the collection, I think if they were going to do it, they would have. I don't think they're going to remaster it. There's really the interest right now in Red Alert 2 is like essentially none. It's like literally what we're doing. It's so small right now. Maybe. The thing is, maybe we get RA to the moon. It's possible. Chrono Legionnaires now coming out for Snark, one of the few players at the top level to use them in a serious manner. So Chrono Legionnaires to try to isolate these rhinos, open things up for the Mirage tanks. I don't think it's going to work, but crazier things have happened. Chrono Legionnaires doing work, boys. Chrono Legionnaires doing work. Oh my god. Paradrop on the backside. And Ed, these low body situations, the Chrono Legionnaires can get something done in these low body situations, but reinforcements now coming from Ed. Ed's got 10k in the bank. Snark's putting himself broke. Chrono Legionnaires, incredibly expensive. And now obviously pushing Mirages as well, and a very early tech push as well. So that's what's very difficult for the Allied players, trying to kind of juggle their economy, trying to build Rockies, Chrono Legionnaires. It's tough. So Ed now with an MCV move. Ed's got a massive economy behind him now, 3 war factories. Yeah, the war machine is getting fully juiced up right now. Snark just picking away with the Rockies, not getting much done. Hey, Snark's staying alive though. Snark's staying alive. Yeah, there's no Yuri faction in Blitz right now. We've experimented with it. We'll add it eventually. We're going to have a Yuri month eventually. It's just difficult adding another faction in. It's just a lot to balance and code. It's kind of difficult. There's a lot of moving pieces. The software and stuff's so old. The map making, all the modded stuff in Blitz. It's just really tricky, but we'll get Blitz in there. We'll get Yuri in there eventually. I'm not a huge Yuri fan, so it's not a huge priority. And also, I think it's, I don't know. There's a lot of complications, but we will get Yuri in Blitz eventually. So Snark's staying alive, boys. The Chrono Legionnaires, I mean, to freeze, to zone out, he's got 4 Chronos. They can zone out 4 Rhinos, but the dogs to counter is really nice. Snark, maybe like a Navy SEAL IFV to back the Chrono Legionnaires. I have no idea what the Chrono Legionnaire meta is because no one ever uses them. Desolators now from Ed as well. Ed, of course, going to need to get a Deso Bomb in here, try to hard counter these Mirages. But you never know, guys. We could. The reality is, we could get RA to the moon. Crazier things have happened. Desolators pushing in. The Mirages don't take any damage, though. Like, imagine a story where a small group of us resurrect Red Alert 2. It slowly grows and grows and grows. And then a ton of people start watching and playing and streaming it. And then Red Bull gives us $2 million. It wouldn't be the craziest thing that ever happened. And then all of a sudden EA decides, hey, this game's awesome, people love it, let's remaster it. It wouldn't be the crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened. Nebras, my guy, 12 months in a row with the sub from Nebras. Appreciate it, buddy, appreciate it. So Ed with a little bit of a split here, trying to harass some miners on the right side. Desolators to zone out those Mirages. Now a lot of, and look at this, he uses the Desolators to cut Snark off. And so Snark kind of forced to amputate this expansion. Now he cannot go on this radiation. He has these Rockies. He needs to be using the Rockies to take out the Desolators. Oh, the pillboxes as well. And I'm surprised. I don't know why Ed didn't take the War Factory and the Refinery there. Battle Lab now for Ed. Ed on 15K. My God, my God. Deadman with the sub as well. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Lots of support today. You love to see it. You love to see it. RA to the moon, boys. The RA to the moon project. Little by little, step by step, inch by inch. Slowly do it. Ooh, and Snark takes a very questionable engagement here. Goes right into those rhinos and gets absolutely demolished.
I blame Snark for that.
But look at the Rockies feasting. Ed has his flak tracks a little bit slow. Snark has to hit and run. Snark's going broke. Now, in this exact same position, if Snark had 20K in the bank, well, if he had 20K in the bank, it'd be a very different game, but he does not. And he's also starting to mine dirt on a few of these primary patches. So luckily, he does have this expansion in the middle, which is kind of nice. I'm surprised Ed let him have that. I think Ed could have probably taken that out. So Snark's still pumping the Mirage tanks, and now Siege Choppers in for Ed. You love to see it. McNeil with the follow. Thanks. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. Yeah, slowly. I mean, the reality is we haven't plateaued. Like, we're nowhere near plateauing. I mean, the reality is, like, Brian gets 10, 15,000 views on his videos. Like, there's a ton of people who watch Red Alert 2. The problem is we need to get more people playing Red Alert 2 as well. Like, there's a pretty good market for, like, nostalgic viewership. Like, Brian gets pretty good engagement. Rocky's on the backside here. Look at this hit from Snark. I love that. Snark staying offensive. Rockies get in, a little hit and run. Using this map, using the water around the outside. The Siege Chopper's now trying to counter. And the Paradrop takes the refinery. And Snark going down swinging here. Ed does have an Iron Curtain coming, which is going to be tricky. And Snark trying to keep these Rockies alive. They're kind of his only offensive presence right now. But yeah, you see like Zoom 3000, some of those guys who make like the videos like the human versus AI videos, or like the challenge videos, like one sniper versus 1,000 brutes. Those kind of things, they get a lot of engagement. So there's a lot of people who watch Red Alert 2 content. We just need to kind of get the players to grow, I think, is kind of a priority for me right now as far as really growing this game, but it's easier said than done. A lot of people will throw up YouTube and watch a game from their childhood, but getting them in here to compete is definitely a little bit trickier. But it's growing every month, man. We got a ton of players playing in these tournaments now, and it's still growing. We haven't plateaued yet. Speaking of which, just for kicks, donating a bunch of subs, my guy, I appreciate it. A bunch of you guys are now subs. That means you guys can use animated emotes. I know you've been waiting your whole life to do that. Oh my God, the Iron Curtain Siege Choppers. The Iron Curtain Siege Choppers. That is absolutely hilarious. Force shield out from Snark to hold this. And Ed in true wildcard fashion here, getting nice and weird. Snark again picking on with, oh, the Rockies go AFK. Rockies go AFK. Snark was somewhere else right there, and he needed to be because he's about to get rolled through now. The Elite Siege Chopper. You love to see it. Will it hold? It stays alive. The Elite Siege Chopper. The MCV goes down. Ed takes it home. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. This is just a really, really weird series. Now we need the V3s. I completely agree. Where are the V3s? I completely agree. Where are the V3 rockets? That's got to be GG's here. And that's possibly the weirdest barn burner I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. Well, something's happening. All right, all right. So, match point, 2-2. Winner of this goes on. Loser of this goes home. Allied versus Soviet. So far in the series, we've pretty much seen everything happen. We did see an Elite Siege Chopper, which is one of those things that I wanted to see before I died. So, yeah, I'm happy to have seen that. I like this map. I do like this map. I don't like how dark it is. It's a little bit annoying. It's kind of a little bit hard on my eyes, but I do like the map, and I like that you start with 4 starting oils. You know, pre-captured tech to open games, that's one of those things, you know, we got a 20-year-old game here, and we really can't go in and, like, go under the hood and start messing with units at the competitive level. There's just too many people that have been playing the game for 20 years. So, you know, you can't do like World of Warcraft every other Tuesday, issue a list of nerfs and buffs, but what you can do is we can do really fun stuff with the maps. And so I like these maps that start with 4 oils. So starting with 4 oils totally changes what you can do early on, how early you can push tech, what you can get away with, your build order, you know, the refineries needed, the miners needed, and little things like that kind of keep the game fresh. So the 4 starting oils here, we are going to see Snark try to open some GIs, a GI rush here. This is kind of blitz style. You don't usually see this on these bigger maps like this. Difficult for the GIs to get downfield and get value early. Ed going to try to counter with a flak track. I don't think that's going to work. Flak tracks can be nice versus GIs that get strung out. You try to run them over. He does get pretty good value out of that, actually. The GIs are expensive, so the GI opening, it's a bit of a gambit, really, because you're paying a lot financially. Like, GIs are not cheap. And if you don't get value out of them, it can really, really put you behind as you move into the mid-late game. So it does get down. It gets a lot of sentry guns from Ed here. He will get that oil, but look at Snark letting these GIs get a little bit strung out, and Ed just doing a great job running them over. Now, we'll see. Maybe this is a little bit of a, hey, look over here, I'm going to punch you over here kind of move. We do see Snark kind of bringing his Grizzlies to the other side of the map. He does grab that oil, so he gets 1 oil. That's not enough value, though. That's not enough compensation. Those GIs are too expensive for that. And that was a heavy GI opening here. Rhino's in. Snark, nice micro, does get that chrono miner out of harm's way. Grizzlies back to hold. So nice defense from Snark. Okay. So, yeah, and again, that's, that on this map, that is more viable. You see Snark here, he's not bottoming his economy out, and that's because of those oils. But, like I said, he only really got 1 oil. I guess you could maybe make the argument he distracted Ed a little bit. He threw Ed off. There is some value in that, particularly as the allied player on a map like this. The map is so spread out that the early harassment from the Rhinos can be very tricky. So Snark just kind of shifting Ed's attention for a little bit. There is value in that. The GI is going to continue to hunt and definitely menacing. Keep having those GIs still alive, having Ed have to keep track of them. Just pull his attention a little bit. Yeah, it can be nice. So Snark, the sacrifice there, of course, was Snark's early push over to tech. We're now at the 3-minute mark, and the allied player wants to be building mirages at this point in Yuri's Revenge. And especially on a map where you have 4 oils, you could even bring those mirages earlier. Snark with no preemptive pillboxes here. Hard to get pillbox value on a map like this. Things are so spread out. Wherever you build a pillbox, he's going to go somewhere else. Snark moves that miner out of harm's way again. Snark needs to be in with his Rockies. There are flak tracks, and so Snark now pumping fodder. Snark on 6k. Where are the pillboxes for Snark right now? Ooh, very rough unit control from Ed. Just throws 3 Rhinos for no reason. Now Snark can take out these flak tracks, maybe? Snark with a huge fodder advantage. That's making Ed reconsider his odds here. And the Rockies go downfield. The Rockies go downfield very aggressive. Most people would have been using the Rockies defensively in this position. Snark goes downfield with the Rockies and the GIs as well, and pulling Ed's attention. And you see that's why Ed's making some slips up here on the attack, because he's trying to balance being downfield and defending himself as well. Now, generally, defending is a little bit easier than attacking, so Snark a little bit more comfortable kind of letting these guys sit for a second while he kind of microed that attack. Ed had to pull back for that kind of surprise attack, and he did get value, wiped out that left side expansion, so Ed now down 2 oils, and Ed just continuing to kind of jockey for position around the map, trying to find value somewhere. I think he's having a hard time believing that as the Soviet player on this map, he's the one who's down oils right now. And a massive pack of dogs for Snark. Ed probably going to consider trying to get some Desolators in the fight here. Ed on 3k. Could certainly go radar. He's only got 2 War Factories out. And Snark looking pretty good here as he goes over to Battle Lab Tech. Mirage is coming out. Now Ed going to bring a split. Yeah, again, Ed's just got to try to find some value. Going to go for another miner. Snark is 2 for 2 on the miner saves so far, and 3 for 3 now. 3 for 3 getting those miners out of harm's way. And like I said, quick on the click, right? Those 3 miners that Snark has microed and saved so far could have easily gone down, and Snark would be three miners behind. We'd have a very different game right now. Snark filthy rich right now, 14k in the bank. Nice split from Ed here, left and right side, far extremes of the map. On the right side, forcing Snark to build a bunch of pillboxes, but Snark overcommits to the right side, leaves his left side now undefended. And it looks like, I don't know for sure, but Snark has definitely lost some miners here. Snark has definitely lost some. I don't have an exact head count, but Snark's definitely lost some miners here. So Ed finally getting some value, but Snark's got 10k. Snark's got 10k, so the mirages are still coming. Snark pushing Ed back now, but more dogs than tanks. Well, way more dogs than tanks. Having more dogs than tanks is okay. Having way more dogs than tanks isn't okay. Because they're not anti-tank dogs. Have you guys seen the concept art, the early Red Alert 2 concept art for the dogs that were anti-tank dogs? They had like bombs that they could go lay underneath the tanks. It didn't get put into the game, but would have been fun. So Mirages, look at this unit control around structures like this in the map. It's so interesting. Your units have to be so babysat, as I call it. You have to babysit your units around here, because if you tell them to go somewhere, they'll get all strung out and do terrible pathing, and you'll lose them all. So Snark having to amputate that oil now, doesn't want to push blindly into this position. Ed does have a nice group of Rhinos there. Ed's still not using fodder, which is interesting. You'd think Ed would be bringing some dogs into the fight. Now Ed building some dogs. Ed on 2K, both players on 2K, so Snark's economy starting to balance back out again. He did take some hits there, definitely lost some miners, and now Snark coming downfield. This is a lot of Rockies. Rockies kind of hit a critical mass. In low numbers, they're like hit and run units. Any amount of anti-air chase them off. This is starting to become a bundle where you could almost justify diving on some buildings, pushing through a little bit of flak. Nothing here but us trees. That's what the Mirage tank said. I always get a kick out of that when they say, nothing here but us trees. Needs to be careful here. These Mirages, he doesn't have any Grizzlies. Well, he's got one Grizzly. No Grizzlies, no Prism tanks. So, yeah, he's got good anti-tank units here, but doesn't have good, you know, taking out sentry guns and buildings is going to be tough. Does win that little engagement, and Snark still has these Rockies and still pumping Rockies. Snark, let's keep an eye on Snark's economy here. He is keeping his head above water. Oh, the elite Rhino comes out. I'm surprised to not see Snark kind of doing a little high-low, a little yin-yang with the Rockies and the Mirages there. Mirages go down. And the final point, boys, you certainly feel it. Both these guys want it right now. That is for sure. Snark's keeping his economy underneath and doing a good job balancing. You see, he's not just recklessly pumping Rockies here. That would put him broke. So building the Rockies that he can while he can, but obviously prioritizing the Mirage tanks. That's the only thing keeping Ed's Rhinos off of his doorstep. And Ed 5K, no radar. Ed only on one War Factory, you guys. Ed now goes radar, so now he has to deal with Desolators, try to get a Deso Bomb, deal with these Mirages. And Ed just has to keep building anti-air, which is annoying. You see 3 flat cannons, 5 flat cannons. They take a ton of power. They're expensive on their own, and he's having to balance flak tracks as well to deal with these Rockies. And that's what's slowing down Ed's build here. But Ed on 1 War Factory at the 8-minute mark, not where you want to be against an allied player, particularly a teched up allied player who has both an air presence and a ground presence. And Ed, I mean, things would be looking a lot different if Ed had his Iron Curtain, but he is a ways away right now from an Iron Curtain. We might see a Battle Lab coming from... he's only on 4K. He really needs to go... He really needs a second or third War Factory first. I don't know. Viking Schmid with the follow. Thanks, guys. Oh, Schmid followed just to say both noobs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was just thinking that. I'm like, we need another Negative Nancy. Who's going to step up to the plate? Thank you, Negative Nancy. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. I like, we gotta have a few people in the chat being annoying. Whenever there's a good game, you gotta have one person. Boo. Noobs. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's get you in here, Schmid. Let's get you in here, show us how it's done. How about that? Schmid's putting on a show. Schmid versus the world after this. Ooh, Desolators on the right side take out those Mirages. So a bit of a staring contest now. I think Snark's pretty comfortable letting this go into a late game without Ed having tech. Snark's comfortable slowing this one down, and Ed really can't push right now. Ed now over to Battle Lab. He's gearing up a Deso Bomb as well. Marco, you did tune into Snark winning. That's exactly right. Actually, I don't know. I think these Rhinos actually could be hitting critical mass here shortly. Siege Choppers out again for Ed for God knows what reason. They did work last game, technically. Chrono Legionnaires out for Snark. And he's got Rockies and Chronos to defend. He goes downfield with the Mirages and wrecking these Harvesters. Or Miners, sorry. I didn't call them Harvesters. We should call them dump trucks. I think they should all be called dump trucks, really. Harvesters, Miners, dump trucks. So Ed pulls back to defend, and yeah, that miner hit from Snark there was very, very nice. Now Ed, as he gets over to Battle Lab Tech, economy in a really, really rough place here, but does have an Iron Curtain coming. So it's going to depend what Ed can do with this Iron Curtain, but this is a tricky map for an Iron Curtain because the base is so spread out. And of course, there's force shields. So if Ed dies for the MCV, he's just going to get a force shield. It's a little bit tricky. So we'll see how he uses this Iron Curtain. This is going to be Ed's first offensive presence here. He's going to try to get something big done with it. Snark's economy in a lot better place here. And of course, Allied in general, the longer the game goes, the more able he's going to open up and kind of leverage his more diverse portfolio of units here. So the Rhinos, I think he's going to use a no Iron Curtain. Look at this from Ed. Ed not using the Iron Curtain, and the elite Rhino. Elite Rhinos do so much work versus infantry. So that's another issue with Chrono Legionnaires, or particularly tech units in general. Your units going elite is based on the value of what they kill. So Chrono Legionnaires are incredibly expensive. So one issue with using them there's a variety of issues why people don't use them at the top level, but one of the issues is that you're going to get a lot of elite units from your opponent if you let those Chrono Legionnaires die. So you saw how quickly those Rhinos went elite. Obviously, that makes a big difference. But Ed doesn't have much anti-air here. He's got a lot of flak cannons in his base, preventing Snark from getting offensive value, but he doesn't really have a lot of flak tracks, which is tricky. And Ed continuing to try to find value where he can, but these Rockies are going to melt those flak tracks, then going to melt the Rhinos. Oh, nice unit control from Ed. Okay. And that one drone just took out a ton of IFVs. Wow, what is going to be the final nail in the coffin here? So Snark just keeps going for the miners, and that's so tough. Ed's just lost so many miners. How many does he have left? 1, 2, 3. Yikes. 3. Now 2. 2 miners left for Ed. Really tough. That's got to pretty much be GG. Snark doing a good job just starving him out. Kind of an annoying game, you know, when you have an opponent like that who never come, like, you know, to have an MCV, to have an Iron Curtain, to have all these things going for you, but at the end of the day, if you don't have any miners, it doesn't really matter what you have. So Snark doing a great job picking those off, taking out his economy, and slowly starving Ed out of this game. Ed's army going down as well, and that's got to be the GG's, boys. What a absolutely wacky ass series.